shot girl. People more than dirty one rock that way. You know me, I'm telling you this.
In 2003, obviously, you hooked up with Beyoncé, and you guys worked on Baby Boy. What was that experience like?
It was crazy to know that, like, I mean, she was in a group of girls who I really liked at the time too. I was like, yo, them hot.
Sean Paul suddenly faded from the spotlight, and nobody really saw it coming. But now, he's finally opening up about what really went down. Everything seemed perfect after he and Beyoncé first dropped Baby Boy.
Top girl, me and you together is a rap that girl. Drive round the town in a
But soon after, things started going sideways. Rumors began to fly about a secret affair between the two.
So it did cause some contention, but honestly, I look at the music differently, and I mean, it takes on a life by itself. But I remember who I am, and I know who I am. So I'm not really affected by it. And as you see, I've never really been much in the beef.
Before long, the whole thing blew up, with lawsuits packed on the table.
What she claims happened in Jamaica when I was not here.
Yes.
And also she's filing a suit in New York, which it can't exist.
And the wild part is, Sean started getting death threats after all that. That's when things got real. Now, what really happened? Let's get into it. So, Sean Paul Ryan. Francis Henriquez was born in Kingston, Jamaica on January 9th, 1973. His mom, Frances, is a painter with English and Chinese Jamaican roots. His dad, Garth Henriquez, came from a family with Portuguese and Sephardic Jewish roots who had moved to Jamaica way back in the 1600s. He also had Afro-Jamaican ancestry. People even say Sean Paul's ancestors were Portuguese horse thieves who ended up in Jamaica after their ship sank.
So we grew up in what we call Uptown Kingston. Mom's is English and Chinese. Pops is Jamaican and Jewish.
He grew up Catholic but went to a Jewish private school called Hillel Academy. His family was full of swimmers. His grandpa was part of Jamaica's first national water polo team. His dad played water polo in the 1960s and did long-distance swimming, and his mom was a butterfly swimmer. When Sean Paul was 15, his dad went to prison for manslaughter and didn't get out until Sean Paul was 19. During that time, Sean Paul stayed focused, playing on Jamaica's national water polo team from age 13 to 21, before quitting to chase music.
My father went to prison when I was 13 and he came out when I was 19. Even though I didn't have like a dirt poor lifestyle, it was difficult growing up with a father that kept getting in trouble for hustling. It was a weird relationship. He had been to prison when I was a kid. And when I was in my 20s, it was kind of weird between me and him.
He went to Wolmer's Boys School and later studied commerce at the College of Arts, Science, and Technology, which is now the University of Technology. In 1992, he worked as a bank teller and joined a hotel management program where he learned French cooking. 2 years later, in 1994, he showed up in a music video called Nice Time by Carrot Jarrett. Around that time, Zachary Harding told his brother Jeremy about Sean Paul's talent. Jeremy invited Sean Paul to his studio, and that's where Sean recorded a song called Baby Girl. From there, Jeremy became his manager and producer. Sean Paul spent a lot of time in the studio with Jeremy, making songs and building his sound. Their track Infiltrate started getting airplay on Jamaican radio, and soon Sean Paul's name began to spread. By 1997, he was working with Spanner Banner on Ladies Man. A year later, in 1998, he got a small movie role in Belly and performed the song Top Shotter with DMX and Mr. Vegas for the film's soundtrack. In 2000, Sean Paul dropped his first album, Stage 1, with VP Records. Then he teamed up with Canadian rapper Cardinal Offishall and singer Jully Black for the song Money Jane. But it was in 2001 that things really blew up. He released Gimme the Light, and it became a massive hit, both in Jamaica and worldwide, hitting number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2002. That success got him signed to Atlantic Records. Gimme the Light ended up on his second album, Duddy Rock, which dropped in November 2002. In early 2003, Sean Paul dropped his second single, Get Busy, and that one really took off. It became his first #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 and was actually the first dancehall track ever to hit the top of that chart. His album Duddy Rock blew up too. It made it into the Billboard 200's top 10, sold over 6 million copies around the world, and went double platinum. It even won a Grammy for Best Reggae Album in 2004, and Get Busy got a nomination for Best Male Rap Solo Performance.
Grammy for Best Reggae Album. Never thought as a kid, listening to the Bob Marley CDs and listening to Lieutenant Stitchie and, Papa San and Shabba Ranks and Super Cat. These dudes is my hero.
That same year, Sean Paul teamed up with Beyoncé on Baby Boy and with Blue Cantrell on Breathe. Breathe didn't do much in the US, but it was a massive hit in Europe. These collabs made Sean Paul even bigger in the US and helped take dancehall music to a global level. But right when things were starting to take off, rumors started to spread. When Sean Paul and Beyoncé released Baby Boy, it turned into one of the biggest songs for both of them. It was produced by Scott Storch, and it stayed at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 9 weeks straight. The song made Sean Paul an international superstar and helped Beyoncé prove herself as a powerful solo artist.
Certified quality. And that the girl them need and I cry for every.
But then things got a little weird. Fans noticed they hardly ever performed the song together. At the 2003 MTV Europe Music Awards, they barely interacted, and that's when the rumors started. People were saying there was tension, maybe even something romantic going on, and that Jay-Z wasn't too happy about it.
So it did cause some contention, but honestly, I look at the music differently, and it takes on a life by itself. But I remember who I am, and I know who I am, so I'm not really affected by it. And as you see, I've never really been much in the beef.
Sean Paul later denied all that, saying they didn't perform together much because of scheduling and stage setup issues. Still, gossip magazines kept pushing the idea that Jay-Z didn't want them on stage together. Beyoncé ended up performing Baby Boy solo most of the time, just using Sean Paul's voice track, which made fans even more suspicious. Nothing was ever confirmed, but the rumors took on a life of their own. They made Sean Paul even more famous, but they also kind of distracted people from his other music. Years later, he admitted that some strange things really did happen at a few shows, which only made fans more curious about what was going on behind the scenes. That same year, in 2003, Sean Paul got in trouble back home for using curse words during his performance at Red Stripe Reggae Sumfest. He was called to court over it. Out of respect, he actually paused his US tour and flew back to Jamaica to deal with it. His lawyer, Tom Tavares Finson, joked that it was the most expensive bad word Sean Paul had ever said. Sean apologized in court, saying he was sorry for wasting everyone's time and promised not to do it again. The judge had asked him to show up in person after his lawyer tried to plead guilty for him. Even though he missed a few media events in the US, Sean said he was glad to clear things up, and his lawyer was too. But of course, that didn't stop Sean Paul from moving forward. By 2005, Sean dropped his third album, The Trinity. It debuted at #5 on the Billboard 200 and broke records for a reggae and dancehall artist. The album went platinum in the US and sold about 4 million copies worldwide. It gave us hits like We Be Burnin', Ever Blazin', Never Gonna Be the Same, When You Gonna Give It Up to Me, with Keisha Cole, and the huge anthem Temperature. Temperature ended up being his third #1 song on the Billboard Hot 101 of the biggest tracks of his career.
Girl, them skill out, chick. Thunderball, some give it to, some give it to, some give it to.
The video for When You Gonna Give It Up to Me was featured in the movie Step Up in 2006. That year was a big one for Sean Paul. He got 4 nominations at the Billboard Music Awards, including Male Artist of the Year and Hot 100 Single of the Year for Temperature. He also won an American Music Award for When You Gonna Give It Up to Me, beating Kanye West and Nick Lachey. His song, Send It On, from the Trinity, was even used in a 2005 Vauxhall Corsa car commercial. Around that time, Sean Paul was also dropping songs for VP Records' Rhythm Driven albums, and in March 2007, he performed at the Cricket World Cup opening ceremony in Jamaica. In 2009, Sean Paul released Imperial Blaze with the hit So Fine, blending party jams and love songs, and supporting a children's hospital through the charity single Save a Life. He followed up with Tomahawk Technique in 2012, featuring hits like Got to Love You and She Doesn't Mind, which earned a Grammy nod. Around that time, he launched his label, Duddy Rock Productions, dropped the Blaze Fia Rhythm, and later released his sixth album, Full Frequency, in 2014. The first single, Other Side of Love, dropped in June 2013, and the second, Entertainment 2.0, featured 2 Chainz and Juicy J. Later, Nicki Minaj jumped on the remix. The album also had songs like Turn It Up and Want Dem All, and featured big names like Damian Marley, Iggy Azalea, Brick and Lace, Conscience, Nicki Minaj, 2 Chainz, and Juicy J. That same year, Sean Paul was featured on What About Us by The Saturdays, a British girl group, and the song went straight to #1 in the UK. It was actually the fastest-selling single of 2013.
Now what's the deal? Make we get this relation seal. Give it the thing, make you feel alright. Give it the...
In January 2014, Sean Paul headlined Fiestas Palmares in Costa Rica. He also joined Enrique Iglesias on the English version of Bailando, along with Gente de Zona and December Bueno. They filmed the video in the Dominican Republic, and the song became a top 10 hit in the US and top charts in several countries. But toward the end of 2014, something serious happened. Sean Paul had to cancel his New Year's Eve concert in the Maldives after getting a scary death threat in a YouTube video. The message warned that he would be killed if he went on stage. Sean Paul later explained on Facebook that he canceled the show to protect his crew and the Maldivian people, saying that his music is all about love, peace, and unity.
International dancehall artist Sean Paul has cancelled his performance in the Maldives amid a death threat from alleged Islamist extremists. In a post on his Facebook page, the 41-year-old artist said the world has reached a point where cyber threats...
Not long after, the Maldivian government said the threat was actually a hoax and that the country was safe. A group called Bilad al-Sham Media, which people thought was behind the video, denied it and said it was made by local troublemakers trying to cause fear. Even with all that drama, Sean Paul didn't slow down. By 2015, he dropped the music video for Take It Low from his Full Frequency album. Around that time, he had also gone independent after leaving Atlantic Records in September 2014. With his new managers, Jewel Dougal and Steve Urchin Wilson, Sean Paul's career started to rise again. Then, 2016 came, and everything changed. He jumped on Sia's remix of Cheap Thrills, and it turned into a worldwide hit. The song reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was his first chart topper since 2006, which hit #1 in over 15 countries. It even became the most Shazammed song of that year. After that major comeback, he signed a new deal with Island Records in July 2016. A few months later, in October, Clean Bandit dropped Rockabye, featuring Sean Paul and Anne Marie. That song blew up too, reaching #9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US and staying at #1 on the UK singles chart for 9 weeks. It even became the UK Christmas #1 and top charts in 18 countries. In November 2016, Sean Paul gave a shout out to Toots and the Maidles, saying he admired how they'd stayed strong in music all these years. Then, on November 18th, he released No Lie, featuring Dua Lipa. This was the first single from his 2018 EP Mad Love, the prequel, and his first big project with Island Records. Around that time, he also spoke out about how big artists like Drake, Justin Bieber, Major Lazer, and Kanye West were using dancehall sounds but not giving credit to Jamaica. He said, "It's a sore point when artists take from dancehall but don't credit where it came from."
Big up to Drake, big up to Rihanna, big up to Ed Sheeran, who has a dancehall-oriented single that's blowing up the world right now. I'm proud of that. That's amazing. Kids don't know, or that they don't say, "This is my dancehall single," because I mean, that's the only way people will know. You know what I mean? If you say that, and that's the point I was trying to make.
In 2018, Sean Paul teamed up with CNCO and Meghan Trainor for a remix of Hey DJ, which dropped in November through Sony Music Latin. A few months later, in March 2019, he linked up with J Balvin for Contra la Pared, a bilingual track that reached the top 15 on Billboard's Hot Latin Songs chart and became a big hit in places like Spain, Colombia, and Argentina. Sean Paul also mentioned that Jamaican artists who use strong patois sometimes struggle internationally because people can't always understand the lyrics. In October 2019, the Jamaican government gave Sean Paul the Order of Distinction, OD, for helping spread reggae and dancehall all over the world. That same year, he was nominated for Favorite Crossover Artist at the Latin American Music Awards, alongside big names like Drake, DJ Snake, and Snow. In 2020, when the pandemic shut down concerts and studios, Sean Paul stayed creative and bounced back strong once things reopened. He teamed up with Shaggy and Spice for Go Down Day, a dancehall hit that topped reggae charts in the US, UK, and Canada, bringing together three of Jamaica's biggest stars. During that time, Sean Paul also started speaking up about the struggles reggae and dancehall artists face, especially when trying to break into the American music scene. He said one big problem is the language barrier. A lot of Jamaican artists use patois, and people outside the island don't always understand it. He also pointed out that sometimes American music isn't open enough to foreign sounds, which makes it hard for dancehall to get the attention it deserves. Another thing he talked about was visa restrictions. Many Jamaican artists have trouble getting visas to perform in other countries, while non-Jamaican artists can use their sound and still find success. Sean Paul said it wasn't fair, but promised to keep using his platform to speak up for others. He also looked back on one of the biggest turning points in his career, his 2002 hit, Gimme the Light. He revealed that the song almost didn't get released because his label didn't believe in it. But once it dropped, it became a worldwide hit and changed his life, proving everyone wrong. In 2021, Sean Paul released 2 albums. The first one, Livin' Livin', focused on unity among Jamaican artists. It was his way of promoting peace and collaboration in the dancehall world. Then, in 2022, he dropped Scorcher, an album that featured global stars like Ty Dolla $, Sia, Gwen Stefani, and Tove Lo. That album showed how easily he could mix Jamaican vibes with pop and R&B while keeping his sound fresh and current.
Telling them again.
But even with all his success, life threw him a surprise. In 2023, while doing a live Twitch interview with artist Tofu Jack and filmmaker Dan Zabludovsky, Sean Paul suddenly stopped mid-conversation. His house in Jamaica started shaking. "Oh, we're having an earthquake," he said before running out of the room. The whole thing was caught live on camera and later shared by TMZ. The earthquake measured 5.4 in magnitude.
A lot of people was like, "Oh, we're having an earthquake."
Oh my God, what?
Just when people thought things couldn't get any worse, 2025 came with something even more terrifying. Hurricane Melissa. It was a Category 5 storm with record-breaking 185-mile-per-hour winds, the strongest to ever hit Jamaica in more than a century. Sean Paul was at his home in Kingston when it hit, and even though the storm was ripping through the city, he still managed to record what was happening and post updates online.
My island, Jamaica, is going through a tough time right now. Hurricane Melissa has caused a lot of damage. People are misplaced. People are hurt. People are without any help right now.
With power and phone lines down, his post became a major source of information for fans all over the world. He shared videos of the heavy rain, wild winds, and debris flying everywhere, showing just how bad things were getting. But even in the middle of all that chaos, he stayed calm and positive, telling people, "Stay strong, my people. We'll rebuild. One love always." Over the years, some people have wondered if Sean Paul's sound still fits into today's music scene. A few critics argue that dancehall has evolved and that he doesn't drop hits with the same frequency or impact as he once did. But no matter what anyone says, his influence is undeniable. Sean Paul didn't just make catchy songs, he opened doors for dancehall and reggae artists everywhere, showing the world that Jamaican music could dominate global charts. He put Jamaica's sound on the map, proving its energy and soul will always matter in music.